Welcome, Phillies and Gentle Colts, whichever you showed up. Thank you for showing up. First of all, welcome to Everfree Northwest. This is the Everfree Northwest edition of the Sports Bronies panel. We're back for the second year in a row. We're going to begin by introducing ourselves. I will start off. First of all, my name is Red Card. You may have seen me at other conventions across the continental United States. I've been to BronyCon, I've been to this con four times, HarmonyCon, BabsCon, PonyCon in New Jersey, a lot of them. My involvement with sports, I played some sports when I was in high school. I played soccer, basketball, tennis, and golf. And I am currently certified as a referee in Eastern Pennsylvania. The sports clubs that I follow: Philadelphia Phillies, Philadelphia Eagles, 76ers, Flyers, Philadelphia Union Soccer Team, the U.S. men's and women's soccer teams, Team USA in the Olympics. And also some auto racing like the Daytona 500 and Indianapolis 500. So, what about you? Who are you?
I don't even know who I am. I'm kidding, of course. Hi, I'm Taylor. Most of you know me as the host of BleppCon Webcam Hangout on Tuesday nights, which somehow I still have my sanity still intact after those events. I'm also 1/100th of the so-called Glimmer Gang. How I came into be the sports, I've been an auto racing fan for nearly a good 14 years of my life, so I've been following NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, any type of auto racing.
What about drag racing?
It's a drag racing too, if you want to call it that. And also a big fan of the Los Angeles Super Bowl champion Rams from this year. And so that's my take on sports, and I can't wait to share my insights with you about why I'm even a part of this. So, what about you? Who are you?
What else is new? How's it going, everybody? I'm Chief 101. I'm all the way from New Jersey. I play my favorite sport of all time. I play baseball in life. I have played semi-pro, and I also do play basketball. I help out the disabled over in Absecon, New Jersey, Margate, New Jersey. I do volunteer for those particular events. I'm also a big volunteer, but I also do participate and play in hockey. So I am one of the hockey players for my own hometown. Yep, Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey is the number I'm in. And for the record, I broke my first ever record making 3 goals in my last spring regular season. And for the playoffs, I made 1 and got 1 assist. So nice. I did pretty good for this one. It actually improved since I played for the last, since 2019. I've been playing the hockey league, which is the co-ed hockey league in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. And I've been doing all that stuff for a long time. So I'm actually happy to be around. But also, who are you?
Who am I? I'll tell you who am I. I'm Statman Dan. I'm from Chicago. This is my 6th Everfree Northwest, 34th convention overall. And
wow.
I was an intramural referee in high school and college. And my college, of course, was Chicago, 2018 Final Four, and 2021 Sweet 16 and 1963 national champions in basketball. I'm also a curler. Oh, by the way, happy 103rd birthday, Sister Jean. I'm also I've been a curler for 17 years, and I also am the editor of a soccer news website called ProstAmerica.com. That's Prost, P-R-O-S-T, and America with a K. I've been editor since 2019. As far as teams I follow, naturally Chicago Fire, the Chicago White Sox, Premier League teams will have the Wanderers, Who else do I follow? As far as NFL teams, I saw stats for the Seahawks and the Ravens. And of course, hockey, the Chicago Blackhawks. And even Canadian football, BC Lions. So I can go on and on, but we need to know who you are.
Hey there, my name is Lucky Flitter. I run a sports chat every Monday on BlebCon. During that, we would talk about games that happened over the weekend and show clips of sports. I run this panel every Monday at 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific and 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As for the teams I follow, in baseball, I am a huge New York Yankees and LA Dodgers fan. In football, I really like the Patriots. And in basketball, I'm a big fan of the Portland Trailblazers.
Okay.
What sports have I played? Well, mostly, primarily, just baseball. That's pretty much been the one sport that I played as a kid without counting like dodgeball or something during gym class.
And we've all played dodgeball in gym class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a fond memory.
Yeah.
That's so much for me. I got one of
Whenever,
those ones.
whenever I played in school, it's usually not like those big rubber balls, but usually with like soft, like cushion type balls.
We actually use volleyballs at Marist.
Those are hard. Those
I
are
should
really
know
hard.
because I got one of the face ones. So.
Those are like soccer balls.
Ooh, no, those aren't
no.
good dodgeballs. Anyway, moving on. What moments in sports were your most memorable, or what what moments in sports were your least favorite? So, Flitter, do you want to start us off with that?
Okay, one of my favorite moments in sports, I've got a lot of them. Seeing as I'm a Yankees fan, won a lot of World Series, so I'm just going to count one of those World Series as one of my favorite memorable times.
If you say 2009 World Series, I'm gonna lose it.
What moment
Where do
in
you get to
sport was my least favorite? 2004 playoffs, where the Red Sox were down by 3 games, and if the Yankees won one more game, they would have gone to the World Series. And what happened? The Red Sox came back and won 4 games to 3.
Yay.
Dan?
Okay, for my favorites. 2005, of course, the White Sox winning the World Series. And I'm going to skip over 2010 for red card's sake, but 1998, the Fire winning the double, that's MLS Cup and the US Open Cup, and of course the Fire win 3 more US Open Cups, and then I win another trophy since then, unfortunately, since 2006. As for Loyola, it's obvious, making the Final Four in 2018 after, because their tournament appearance before that, the last NCAA tournament appearance before that was 1985, so that was a long while, and then we go all the way to the Final Four, upsetting Miami, then Tennessee, then beating Nevada, then beating K-State, and then almost beating Michigan in the Final Four, but they had this Mo Wagner guy. And of course, getting back in 2021, then upsetting Illinois, who was like the number 2 overall seed in the tournament back then. So that was a nice moment, and something to brag about for a while in state, and I'll add one more one, and that's 2011. I went to Vancouver. My CFL team's the BC Lions. They started 2011 0-5, and I went there for week 6. They beat Saskatchewan, first one. They actually go 11-7. They won 10 of their next 12 games, and they go on to win the Grey Cup. I was there for BC play at BC Place for that Grey Cup, so that was a great moment. And as far as least favorites, I could say 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series, but I'll go with 2009 when the Fire were in the Eastern Conference Finals against RSL, Real Salt Lake, and losing on penalties. We finally got the game at home. We had after continuing losing to the Revolution and Columbus in the playoffs, we get to the home playoff game and we lose on penalties to RSL, who were like a mediocre team. The only issue in their East was back then, if you were the 5th place team in the West and had a better record than the 4th place team in the East, you crossed over. So that's why RSL was in the conference, our conference. So we get to the conference finals, we have 20,000 SeatGeek Stadium, and then heartbreakingly, it was 0-0 after 120 minutes, and then we lose the penalties because we kept going to Ramondo's rights. And then, not just for the result, because we would have been in Seattle for Reynolds Cup, but since then the Fire only been to 2 playoff games. Next 12 season, just 2 playoff games. We lost both at home, so that's been painful. And hopefully one day I'll see the Fire in the playoffs game and win a game. So.
Yeah.
I just want to interrupt for a second. In reference to our previous slide, we were supposed to actually have one more joining us. His name, it goes by Princess Big Mac. We know him as PBM. He's not here this weekend. I just learned before the panel starts. We were expecting him to join, but I guess something came up. So I just want to say, PBM, we're thinking about you.
Yeah, PBM.
But,
I got the name right.
the chief.
So right now, all-time favorite moments, I'm gonna have to say, finally getting a goal during the playoffs. So, during the hockey season, when I played in my year, finally got my record going up for co-ed and all that stuff. Regular season, three goals, 1 assist for mine. Probably, unfortunately, a couple penalties that I got hit with. So they happen. So though that was like one of my favorite moments in being able to go through the breakthrough for my team. But here is the worst case scenario when I go through the worst moments, and that is dealing with injuries afterwards. So right now, I'm still going through a long-term recovery. While I'm walking right now, I'm still hurting in some spots of my foot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm still going through a bit of a recovery from it right now. So, but overall, it's doing okay as we speak. So I'm just lucky enough I'm still able to stand after all I've gone through and all that stuff. So those are probably the only moments I got. So go ahead, Taylor.
So, I've talked about this at previous Sports Bronies panels, but, and this is probably the most memorable moment I can think of. For me, it was 2015 when my driver, Kyle Busch, was involved in an Xfinity race at Daytona, and he got himself injured in a wreck, which broke his right foot. And he had to spend weeks and weeks recovering from that injury. He comes back, and NASCAR gives him the requirements that he has to win a race, be in the top 30 in points, and to make the playoffs for that year. Not only did he win 1 race, but he won 4 that season to knock himself into the top 30 in points to be eligible for the playoffs. And his first win came on a road course, which is very difficult to win on a road course because you're doing more technical stuff than you are on a normal oval track. So that was quite an accomplishment right there. So we go through the playoffs, and he is absolutely consistent throughout the entire round of 12, 8, and then we get to the Final Four. He made the Final Four and went on to win the Cup Series championship that year, which was a truly remarkable comeback, I will absolutely say, for my intents and purposes. Now, my least favorite moment, and as a Rams fan, I'm still ashamed that we played the Super Bowl against the Patriots that year, which I still now deem was indeed the worst Super Bowl in history because the Rams creamed us that day. And
The Patriots.
You mean the
the
Patriots?
Patriots creamed us that day, and forever I was ashamed to be a Rams fan after that. But we've recovered since then. We now won the Super Bowl last year, so not all as bad in
This year.
This year in Rams. I am not thinking right now, but
Previous season.
Well, technically.
air quotes technically.
Okay.
But again, yeah. So Rams are looking pretty solid this year in preseason. So here's hoping we go back to back this year.
Most memorable moments, I can think of many. I'm gonna, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna stick with one. 2016 national championship game in March Madness. It's Villanova and North Carolina. The game is tied with 4.7 seconds on the clock. The Tar Heels just tied the game on a fadeaway three with less than 5 seconds left to play. It ties the game. Coach Jay Wright calls a timeout and gets his squad regrouped and everything to bring the ball the entire length of the court for the last the last 5 seconds. I think it was Chris Jenkins who inbounded the ball to Ryan Arcidiacono. And then up 3/4 the length of the court, and then with like less than 2 seconds, Arcidiacono lays it out to Jenkins again, puts up for three, and it's good at the buzzer. The Cats win the national championship. So honestly, when I was watching that, I probably shouldn't have had my earbuds plugged into my computer at the time because I jumped up and I ripped the cord from my computer. It's like, oh man. So, yeah, that was our first, that was Villanova's first national championship in 3 decades, I believe.
It was 1985 that was the previous one.
31 years, okay, so. Yeah, and I knew that during that time that Villanova was really poised for greatness because Jay Wright was really one of Villanova's best coaches for their basketball program, and we had some really good players. We had some chances. We made it to the Final Four, I think in 2008, I believe. We had a bit of a drought up until up for about 8 years, and then in 2016 we made it to the national championship and beat North Carolina in the national championship at NRG Stadium in Houston.
Yes, I think it was Houston.
Yeah, and then we won the national championship again 2 years later in 2018. Mm-hmm. Same year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which is also one of my favorite moments. I would have mentioned, but that would be too easy. My least favorite moment, oh boy, this is a tough one. Oh boy, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be the Philadelphia Phillies making it to the World Series in 2009, 1 year after winning the World Series, but losing to the New York Yankees at and yeah, I guess we just didn't have anything for them. They had A-Rod, they had Jeter, they had Joe Girardi as their manager. Oh boy. Anyway.
He got fired for the Phillies.
Yeah. But the Phillies have been on a roll this year. So ever since they let Joe Girardi go as the manager. So how has being a Brony influenced your love for sports, or how has sports influenced you being a Brony? So really, I think Bronies was basically just mimicking what I'm doing right now. I mean, this is my explanation. I don't have to say anything really. I basically wear this to every con that I go to, or some other official attire. So, of course, Taylor.
I mean, for me, I've been a sports fan longer than being a Brony in this community. I think in some ways for myself, and I have a hard time explaining myself in this portion, but
Explain yourself.
I know, but it differs because you know what, you try to keep both your sides, like you have your sports side and then you have your fandom side, and I try to keep those two on a separate level. And you know, I love my sports love my racing with all my heart, but
You'll be good at them.
love my racing with all my heart, but it's difficult to also talk about your other side, and you know, sports fans will mock you for, you know, that for unapparent reasons, and that's why, you know, while I do love sports, I try to keep my Brony fandom side on the side, because you know, it's in the world of NASCAR, they judge you based on not only your driver but also what other interests you have, and that's why I try to keep it to a minimum at best. But overall, it's had little to no impact on, you know, me being a sports fan and a Brony in this community. So yeah, that's pretty much why. So, Serge?
Let's say, really, to be honest with you, back then, it really, the Brony community did not come around during my younger years. The only thing that gave my love for sports is when I started playing Little League Baseball. And this was back in 1998. I was only about 10 years old. So I would say my start off love for sports, it was mainly just for playing baseball and all that stuff over the years. And then later, as I progressed, when I went through not only just middle school, but also going through high school, I developed playing basketball a lot. And then as I grew up in time, I started falling in love with all different types of sports, playing tennis, playing soccer, playing hockey. Hockey now has become a main thing for me because I'm a part of the league now, and also been volunteering for kids leagues, refereeing those particular leagues as well. So I've done quite a bit for them over time. But mostly amongst the Brony fandom, I've also kept some of that stuff to a minimum as well, almost similar to what Taylor just spoke of about keeping certain things down to a minimum. But a lot of the stuff, from my experience, some people weren't too judgmental about it because they already see me as a much bigger person for some reason. They judge it by the perspective of how big you are as a human being and how willing you were able to carry yourself out there amongst certain things in life. So it's pretty much how I've been proceeding over time and being able to do different things in life. So that's pretty much it pretty much sums it up for me on this one. What about you, Dan?
Well, I've been a curler longer than I've been a Brony, because I started curling in 2005. Also been a soccer writer longer. I started that in 2004. And by the way, we do get real press passes. We do go inside the press box for major games like MLS and the NWSL. Being a fan, I meet people with common interests like Red Card. We both love soccer and a lot of other sports. So I also met you and Taylor and Lucky here. And of course PBM, so I get its name right. If you see the Winnie City video of this, you'll know what I mean.
When we did this at Winnie City, he
I accidentally.
Yes, accidentally.
I wasn't even thinking of food at the time.
Wait, what did you say?
I actually called it PBJ.
You said PBJ.
Yes.
You said PBJ, not PB.
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. Hey,
All
hey.
right.
Okay.
Enough. I'm getting control of this battle.
Log out.
But really,
Sorry, my GoPro collapsed.
time
They
out.
couldn't handle the PB and
We
J.
need the intermission card for some reason. Oh, by the way, who drew the rarity thing?
I actually don't know. I just found it on DeviantArt.
Okay.
But it's still there.
Probably got on that derby board or something.
It might be. But I originally found this on DeviantArt. But this is a reference to like I'm not sure if you've seen like this video of it, but like this there's this one referee who just shows his cards like this. It's so ridiculous, and that's a reference to that.
But to complete my thought, well, being a community, you eventually meet people with common interests like Red Horn, Sergio, and Taylor, and Lucky here, and the rest of it spells itself in a way. So that's all I have to. What about you, Lucky?
That's a tough question because, like the others, I have been a fan of sports for longer than I've been a brony, but I guess in a way, if it weren't for me being a brony, I wouldn't be hosting this panel. I probably wouldn't be a sports host of a pony server, obviously. So I guess in a way, that's how it impacted me being a brony.
All right.
All right. So I'm blanking on the word actually. I guess theoretic question: if the ponies and Equestria were to have a sports meet or match between each other, what sport and
I just saw Baymax walking by.
Are you trying to derail my own panel?
No, I just saw it just a second.
I saw it.
He's good at sports too.
It's joke. What sport we played and who would be the best athlete? So, Flitter.
That's hard to say. Who would be the best athlete? I would have to say either Rainbow Dash or Applejack, and I guess it would depend on what the sport is.
Which version of themselves against each other, like Pony AJ and EQG Applejack, or the other way around?
I think EG Rainbow Dash and Pony Applejack.
Okay. What sport would they play?
Rainbow Dash, since she was a soccer player and Equestria girls, I'm gonna have to go with soccer for her. And Applejack, I don't know.
Let's just say that they both play soccer for the sake of time.
Okay.
Okay. Dan?
So I keep coming to soccer, and that would be undisputedly EG Dash.
You see a recurring theme here.
But if I were to go with, I don't know if we count buckball here, but that would be undisputedly Pinkie Pie, Pony Pinkie Pie. But let's see, what else could we conjure up here? Well, not much else comes to mind, but if we were like a running race or sprints, it would be a tie between Pony Dash and Pony Applejack.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna challenge Minty Root with something if he ever has an opportunity. An animation of this. I want to see a horse hockey match. I really do.
Horse
hockey.
Yeah, because here's the thing. In one of the winter episodes, if y'all remember, season 5 of My Little Pony, a Rainbow Dash episode with
Playing
Tank.
hockey.
Yeah, you'll see a couple ponies playing horse hockey in the end, almost to the end of the episode. So yeah, if I had to pick any character who would play right now, I'm gonna twist it a little bit. Put one of the male characters in there instead of not. It ain't gonna be Pinkie Pie this time, because I know she can skate. But I do want to see Big Macintosh versus Brayburn in horse hockey. I really want to see. I do want to see a match about that because I know Brayburn would play buckball, but I think Big Mac, who would definitely have an opportunity to play some horse hockey. So I want to see those two duke it out. Have a team of their own, and let's see what they'll come up with.
I feel like Big Mac would be a goalie.
Most likely.
I can see that.
I envision him as a defense
I would say a defense player.
Park him in front of the net.
Yeah.
What about you, Taylor?
So this one's kind of out of the blue, but not if I want to quote it that way. But if you could pair Zipstorm and Soren in IndyCar, oh man,
That is interesting.
seriously, listen. These two, listen again. I talked about this at Windy City, but Soren does not get enough appreciation for what he does.
He doesn't.
He's a good boy, and he didn't get enough screen time during his run in Gen 4. But between him, his Wonderbolt power, and Zip, they would make one heck of a IndyCar team because you know what? If you're prone to fast speeds, oh yeah, you can make it an IndyCar, baby.
Yeah,
on
nice.
on an oval or on a street course. Now that would be one sure show to watch.
Nice.
So I think this was actually mentioned last year, but horse racing.
Okay.
I think
Wait, hold up. Earth Pony or Pegasus?
yes.
Earth Pony.
I know. Just the Equestria girls as the jockeys riding their pony counterparts.
Oh, that is interesting.
That will be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
So that's yes, it was. So we're now going to open it up to Q&As. Does anyone have any questions for any of the
Comments,
five of us?
concerns.
Bueller, anyone?
Bueller.
We could just sit up here and talk
And-
for.
Yeah,
That too.
and bore you to death. Yeah, yes.
Are there any lessons that the sports fandom community can learn from the Brony community, or vice versa?
That's a good question. Actually.
Sportsmanship.
They could. I mean, one thing I can think of is that they can learn to that they could stand to take defeat with grace.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of like being sore losers and throwing trash onto the field whenever something doesn't go their way. Oh no!
What did you say?
Fun times in Cleveland again.
Oh man.
Oh wow. Okay.
At least we're not Detroit.
God damn it.
We're not Detroit. Our economy's based on LeBron James.
Not anymore.
That was, I mean, of course, those videos are like ages old. Yeah.
So are you talking about the incident in 2001?
Yes.
Cleveland Browns?
Yes.
Because I had just moved to Cleveland at the time, and I remember that vividly, that the fans were so insanely angry, littering the field with bottles, that the referees had to call the game early.
Yeah.
And run the call.
It was the Browns and the Jaguars. In November of 01?
It was close to the end of the season.
Oh, yes, this game had playoff implications. That's
Right. It was a regular season game, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The problem was that a play had already been run. Replay was trying to buzz the officials, Apparently, allegedly, there was a malfunction with the communication system between the replay officials in the booth and the on-field referees, or officials, I should say, because there's only one referee. Terry McCauley was the referee, the problem is that once another play is run, you cannot review. You cannot go back 2 plays and conduct a video review because the rules will not allow for that. They basically, I think that after the ball was snapped, the officials basically just blew the play dead and explained that the replay had buzzed before the snap. So they say. After they conducted the review, they overturned the call and the play that they were reviewing was whether the pass was completed was a catch or an incomplete pass. After review, they ruled it an incomplete pass, and the Cleveland fans were just livid. And again, the game had playoff implications because if they won this game, this would probably, I guess, propel them into a playoff position, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yes, I remember correctly.
Right.
This is my first sports memory, so it's like,
Yes.
it's I try to keep it as vivid in my head as I can.
Well, I mean, of course, I think I guess, rightly so. The fans were not happy about this. I guess we're talking about a matter of seconds or milliseconds between the time that replay buzzed the officials and the time the ball was snapped. It could go either way.
Yeah, it was
honestly, in the officials' defense, but but in hindsight, once the ball is snapped, you can't do anything about it. You have to run the play. So, and of course, the fans are throwing like bottles on the. CBS commentators are saying that those bottles were plastic. Of course, they didn't look like plastic bottles; they looked like glass. Mm-hmm. And you got them saying that someone got hit in the skull, got hit in the head, and his skull was split open. So there's really gruesome details that they really didn't show on camera. It was just a mess. And of course, afterward, Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner of the NFL at the time, basically called the officials and said, "You have to finish this game."
Yes, there was
They
still
had
like
to- everybody had to run back onto the field. to
there were
finish
still
it.
like
It was like 20, 30 seconds.
48 seconds left.
It was, yeah, and of course, by this time, most of the fans, I guess, had left, thinking that the game what was really over. There were still some fans there, but there wasn't really much left to play. All they had to do was basically just take a knee and just let the clock run. Yeah. And did anyone else have any other questions?
I was wondering if you had any comments about the 2017 Astros, like the whole cheer.
Oh, cheers.
Do you really want me to open that can of worms?
It's up to you.
I've heard the supposed allegations. That the Astros in the dugout were banging like
Trash cans.
Banging like waste bins and what have you, I guess to signal what kind of pitch was coming. You really can't do that. It's disrespectful to the game, and yes, and for lack of a better word, it is by definition cheating. Mm-hmm. It's damaging to the spirit of the game, and the honest competition. Really, cheaters shouldn't prosper, and If that were like the NCAA, they would have vacated. The NCAA would have vacated that championship. But we're talking about something that involves like players' unions and professional league. I was kind of upset that Rob Manfred didn't strip them of their World Series title and give it to who was their competition? The Dodgers.
The Tigers took them to 7 games too.
I mean,
Yeah, won 7 games.
and what makes the story really sad is that Houston was just coming off like a devastating Hurricane Harvey, was it?
Harvey.
Yeah, and I think at the time that they played, good for them, they deserve it. But the means of getting there, don't do that. I mean, it's really damaging to the game.
Yeah.
Any other questions? You had one.
I came up with a weird question.
Okay, I've seen weird in my time in the fandom, so I'm prepared.
Okay,
Why do you think he's friends with me right now?
okay, just a random thought I had. If buckball was a real sport, what real athlete would you like to see play it?
I couldn't hear that properly. What was it?
If buckball was a real life sport, what athlete would you want to see play it?
The Milo Pony buckball.
Of what professional athlete, real athlete?
First person that comes to mind is Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That honestly, that's a tough one because you associate names with a certain sport, like Kobe Bryant with basketball or Michael Jordan with basketball. Rest in peace, Kobe. Or Babe Ruth with baseball, or I hate to mention his name, Tom Brady with football. Or no, wait, actually no, John Elway. That's better.
There we go.
John Elway.
There you
That's a
go.
good one.
That's a really tough question to answer, to be honest. Given the nature of the game, like that you would associate with other games, what other sports would you associate like buckball with? Like what similarities does it have with others? Like I know like kicking, you kick a soccer ball, you kick a football, you kick a kickball.
A little bit of basketball.
A little bit of basketball, yeah, because it has hoops.
Yeah, the thing is, I was going to go into basketball because you got to throw the ball up and they got to jump for it. The throwing part, I'm thinking, is either baseball and volleyball combined because you got to get it to a bucket.
Well,
basketball.
also in basketball, you also shoot like 3-pointers. So I mean, there's that aspect of it.
Like I said, it has a combination. It's combinated literally the way I'm thinking about is baseball, basketball, and volleyball. It feels like those three are just so combinated.
Well, I mean, what kind of volleyball? Beach or indoor?
I'm thinking indoor.
Okay, that's a good. I don't know many the names of any indoor volleyball players specifically for like Team USA in the Olympics, but I mean when I think of, I know you said indoor, but really when beach volleyball comes to mind, when I think of beach volleyball, I think of Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh Jennings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But again, that's beach volleyball. It's a different playing surface. So if I had to honestly choose one, I think I would probably say Michael Jordan. Because he's probably one of the best, if not the best, player in the NBA ever.
Yeah.
I mean, how many NBA championships has he won? 6.
6 of them.
How many championships has Kobe won? Like what?
I thought it
5.
would be around 4 or 5.
Yeah. So I mean, MJ and Kobe are or were like the best best players in the game. So yeah, I have to say Michael Jordan.
Why not? Why do you think Michael Jordan never lost an NBA final? 6, just
So every NBA finals that he was in, he won.
yes.
And now he's a proud owner in NASCAR, having drivers of Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch, or now Ty Gibbs, running the 45 this weekend and for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And any other questions? We have 15 minutes left, by the way.
It's going to take us 15 minutes to get through those minutes. So, I thought it was just something. You all were talking about plastic bottles and fans throwing stuff. I remember
The Dallas Cowboys.
I remember a long time ago at Daytona during the 4th of July race when they held it at Daytona. Apparently, because of miscommunications with how they were scoring the cars under caution, and they still finished the race under caution at the time.
This is Junior and Gordon, isn't it?
Yeah, so this was.
This was at Talladega.
No, this actually happened at Daytona too. This was Cushion Gate, where they were throwing cushions on the track because Jeff Burton won the race, and
You mean Jeff Gordon?
Jeff won the race.
Jeff Burton.
Jeff. See, there's too many Jeffs.
The 24 car.
The 24 car, and because of the miscommunication with the officials and everything, Gordon ended up winning the race, and people were not too happy after that race, so they started throwing the cushions that they sold at the track, and now it looked like a nice pillow fort on the track after the race. So, gotta love fans that take.
How do they get the cushions over those really high fences that are?
People have really good arms, I guess.
Very good aiming.
Arms, jumping, but how?
Well, I mean, you have to think about how high the catch fencing is. I mean, it's. I mean, if you're far enough back, you might have a chance. But if you're right up against it, no chance at all. I mean, you basically have to throw up and up like really hard and try to get some distance. And also like the catch fencing also sticks out in towards the track.
Plus, people have tried to climb that catch fence and have failed miserably to do so.
Put it out. I've got a spectator on the fence.
Oh my God.
Richmond.
We've had spectators sitting on the catch fence when they were abysmally making questionable decisions when they were coming to drinking. And we had one fan in Richmond many, many years ago, and we did not know what the caution was out for until we found out later that a fan had climbed the catch fence somehow, and
Rule of thumb, please drink responsibly.
ale hydrate as well.
Ale
That's the
hydrate.
reason I brought mine.
Ale hydrate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Comments, concerns?
Anyone?
Bueller.
Fry.
Fry.
Oh my God.
Food. I'm hungry.
What is food?
Well, that's why I had once before.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seriously, though, does anyone have any questions? Anything? Yes.
So with the MLP community has buckball, which is a slightly fictional game that humans have or Bronies have turned kind of real life-ish.
I've refereed those, by the way.
I played with them.
And
I commentated on them.
I played.
Yeah, I played too, yeah.
like
Sorry.
the Harry Potter community has like Quidditch, which is like a fictional sport.
Right.
Humans have tried to
Yeah.
make that. Is there any activity that you can think of in some fandom or some imaginary sport that you'd like to maybe
Bring to life.
Bring to life, yeah.
Oh, that's a tough question.
Fictional sport.
Like
I
any
mean,
movies.
I mean, first thing I think of is Quidditch. I mean, and
Quidditch.
What's your
wasn't that one movie that had something called basketball?
That was the
Yeah, it's Frank Parker and Matt Stone made a comedy in the late 90s about
They even got Bob Costas to do commentary for
The great
that,
Bob Costas.
in that movie. I mean,
They could have gone for Al Michaels, but they went for Bob Costa.
not necessarily that there's anything wrong with Bob Costas. I mean, he has a great voice and a great commentator. Yeah.
No question.
But I mean, did you really have to get him for this? He's too good a commentator to be wasting his time with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Yeah.
Bob Costas is like a go-to for TV movies because he was in Cars.
Yeah, he and Darrell Waltrip.
Yes.
Um,
First cars, by the way.
Yeah.
They had Brett Musburger for the second one.
They had Bob Costas, they had Darrell.
No, they didn't have a second one. They had 1 and 3. What are you talking about?
We don't talk about Cars 2. No.
Cars 2 doesn't exist in my opinion.
Who did Cars 3 then? It wasn't Costas. Or...
I don't think so. But no. Actually, I'm going to speak about Cars 2. They had Brent Musburger in that, and David Hobbs.
And
Okay.
David Hobbs. Wow.
And I know that on radio in Cars 2 they had Mike Joy. They named him Mike Joyride.
That's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, automotive puns. I mean, go figure.
It could have been worse. It could have been Mike Joystick.
Yikes.
This is a related panel.
Keep that
They who else did they get for Cars? They
Got Darrell. They got Mike.
got Darrell, they got Bob.
They had all sorts of racing
They,
personalities in the first movie.
Lewis Hamilton was a voice in the series.
So it's
Michael Schumacher.
Schumacher. They got Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr.
Junior Johnson was one of the old timer cars from.
Yes, Junior Johnson.
Junior Johnson. They had Mario Andretti.
Richard Petty.
They had also.
They had Richard Petty as the king, in the iconic number 43. So
basically, any car that existed in real life is voiced by its driver.
yeah, they they had Dale Jr. voicing his car's counterpart Junior with the number 8 on it. Back when he was driving the DEI number 8.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Newman.
Paul Newman who voiced Doc.
Doc Hudson.
Yeah.
And he was a racer in real life.
Yeah.
He was indeed a famous real racer in real life.
And he was co-owner of an open wheel team, Newman Haas.
Yes.
Newman Haas Lanigan.
They had Mario and Michael for a long time during the 90s.
Yeah. They also had what else did they have?
They had Suarez, Blaney.
They had Suarez.
Yeah, they had Suarez in the third cars.
They had Kyle Petty as well.
Yeah, Kyle Petty.
And of course, in the third one, they're just pretending that he just doesn't exist and they're playing pranks on him.
It's kind of weird. I didn't recognize that it was Kyle initially, even though I'm a massive fan of the Petties. Just for some reason, his voice on the movie just didn't sound like him.
Yeah. Not only
Kind of sounded more off-putting.
not only did they have Richard, they also had Linda, the late Linda Petty, who was Richard Petty's wife.
Voicing her station wagon.
Did you work for station wagon? That's right.
Okay, can I just point something out? Sorry.
Just a second. And there is a lot of historical accuracy with Linda Petty being a station wagon, because the Pettys, back when the King was racing, the Pettys would go to the racetrack in the Petty family station wagon. So there's some historical context to that.
And it was actually painted Petty blue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, so I got to give my tip of the hat to John Lasseter and
clearly a NASCAR fan.
Yes.
Just like the track that you see in the first movie, it's clearly Bristol.
It's good. Well, obviously, although it's a little bit longer, it is a little bit longer, probably about the length of maybe Dover, but it is basically Bristol. And also the second track they go to in the first one, which they call the Los Angeles International Speedway, is basically the LA Coliseum fused with California Speedway. Because California Speedway is a D-shaped Auto Club Speedway, I'm sorry.
Auto Club Speedway now.
Back then it was...
I just call it Fontana.
Yeah, the Fontana racetrack. It's a D-shaped oval, 2 miles, and basically the stadium is basically the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum because it's a stadium that goes down into the ground. It's not built up around it.
And oddly enough, NASCAR actually raced the LA Coliseum earlier this year
So it comes full circle.
for an expiation race. So
And next year they're going to do a street circuit race in Chicago.
Chicago.
Inspired by the iRacing.
Road America. Boo.
oh,
I
Nobody likes Road America?
I have like soft memories of like an IndyCar running around the Cleveland airport.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
IndyCar and kart.
And cars.
Yeah. You were about to say something. I'm sorry, I
So,
interrupted you.
you know, what I find so fascinating about the first Cars movie is, you know, the way they depict the way fans react to their certain drivers. Lightning McQueen had these two lady fans.
Yeah, girls.
Like, these girls. And, like, after the race is over, they come up to him
And they kept their security.
announce that they're his biggest fans and flash their headlights. Now, if you think about it, I'll let you think about this one. Cars are flashing their headlights.
Uh-oh.
Put this in human form. I'll let you think about that one for just a second.
Think about
I don't need
that.
I like
Think about
like
it.
think
I
of
got it immediately. That was the sad part.
This is a
That part is was gonna fly over kids' heads because I knew when I grew up I was like, oh, you went there, Pixar, with that. You foul little minds.
I just got it.
Yeah.
Are you now getting
You
the
can't see that
Pixar?
scene the same anymore.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. I can't watch that movie anymore now. Like flashing their headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were
Hey,
doing.
it flew over my head as a kid, okay? I love the movie. I didn't care. I thought it was very well done. I gotta give a tip of the hat to Disney and Pixar and executive producer John Lasseter because the amount of detail and historical context around the racing the racing culture in that movie is so accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think Pixar can get any more accurate than that.
Well, and the other thing is that in
They
Cars,
even had Route 66 in it.
mm-hmm. And in the third Cars film, it pretty much documents how much the sport has changed because, you know, in the early days, was started off with the grassroots racing.
Strictly stock.
In the moonshine days. But then now all of a sudden you transition to kids with parents that have a lot of money and how they acquire a ride so quickly and how much, you know, the professional racers with talent go from being the talent to now you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, which is kind of sad.
One thing that I really liked, especially in Cars 3, was touching upon the roots of stock car racing. As you mentioned, you know, running moonshine across state lines, out racing the police. I thought that was a stroke of genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's really good. I just want to go back to them having Bob Costas and Darrell Waltrip. Those two have never commentated together in real life. So you know who they were missing in that? They were missing Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, they were.
Oh yeah.
They needed old Larry Mack to.
I demand a Cars version of Ken Squire.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Bravo.
When you think about it, Ken Squire is like the original voice of stock car auto racing of NASCAR racing, like back when. He started out doing radio like in the '76 Daytona 500 when Petty and Pearson racing for the win on the last lap.
That was Donnie Allen.
That was 76.
No. 1976 was David Pearson and Richard Petty. David Pearson ended up winning by crawling across the line, keeping his engine running. 79 was Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough. Petty ended up winning that because he was half a lap back.
Third, and Donnie and Cale ended up wrecking.
And wrecking, they didn't finish the race, and they fought in the mud.
Yeah, that was the perfect score
for launching CBS into live flag racing.
In the entire sports history, because it was the first race that was broadcasted flag to flag.
Yeah, and it's
so many people in the Northeast
were snowed in. It was a blizzard.
Nothing else to do but watch the Daytona 500. And then you got Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Making his debut.
leading the race, and then you got the incident on the last lap, and then the fight afterwards, and people were like, "This existed this whole time? You didn't know?"
Yep.
Pun intended, it was a perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm. We are out of time.
Yeah.
It is 1:15. Thank you so much for coming. This is a really interesting talk. Right after this, Taylor is hosting Jackpot with Taylor & Co. in the Celestia room. I'm going to be part of it. I encourage you to come to it. This is Red Card Taylor, Chief Hunter 1, Statman Dan, and Lucky Flitter.
Also, 9:15 in this room later tonight, I'm going to be hosting Pony Definition. That's my game show, so I hope to see some of you here, and I'll be giving out some prizes there. So,
Thank you all so much for coming, and if you want to come for Jackbox, we're doing it in Celestia coming up here shortly.